years ago, I reviewed 15 petticoats for you and ranked them. That was already a lot, but since then I actually acquired 12 more. So this is time for another review. Some of those petticoats are actually super affordable and very easy to buy, but maybe not the poofiest, but we'll see. All the measurements and data from these new petticoats and all the old 15 ones that I reviewed are available in a big spreadsheet and a folder with just a petticoat and worn on many different dresses. And all of that is accessible for my patrons and channel members. So if you want to have access to all that to figure out what is the perfect petticoat for you, you'll find the link in the description. I will use the same method to measure and rank the petticoats as I did last time. So if you want a refresher, click up there to see the first video. And everything I'm saying about the science of the petticoats, the tips and things for which dress you should pick, for which petticoat you should pick, this is all still applicable. So check out this other video. So nowadays new petticoats will be ranked alone independently for the other 15 ones. So if you want to see the other ranking, again, go to the other video. Let's go. This is the sweet white black cosplay pettiskirt lace Lolita petticoat tutu skirt from Lolita, sold on AliExpress. It exists in black and in white. It's the scratchiest tulle possible, and it does not even make the skirt super poofy. So I really don't recommend this petticoat at all because it's so scratchy, the lace is terrible, and it's actually not a good petticoat. So why would you go with tulle if it's not to make your skirt poofy? It actually makes holes in the dress and it's really not pretty. So avoid. This is the 2019 new Lolita organza ball gown skirt sweet short pettiskirt white black crinoline petticoat from Lolita, sold on AliExpress. So it's actually a nice fabric at the top, and then you have a lining that has some tulle attached, but because the lining is long enough, you actually are not scratched by the tulle. But the petticoat in itself is not very poofy, so the tulle doesn't help that much actually. But it's a comfortable petticoat, but it's really not poofy, maybe good for every day. Despite being so flat, it actually makes a lot of holes in the dress, and so that's not pretty. This is the Aurora and Ariel 45 centimeter mini petticoat. I'm very impressed about how poofy the mini petticoat is, because it's basically already in the total mid-range of all the petticoats I looked at in the last petticoat comparison. So for my daily petticoat, like really casual Lolita, this is perfect and a little bit even poofier than I would expect actually. This is the Accessible Petticoat by Pouvitel. I have a full video review on this one if you want to check it out. This is how your petticoat looks like when you receive it. I have some extra parts, so let's try and make it a little bit tighter with the drawstring here. So then you tie the knot. In my case, for example, I just broke my arm, and so I might have difficulty really going back in my back, so being able to do it in the front is very good, and then I can turn it, and the fact that you can put the opening where you want, tie it a lot more and make the whole back open actually, so you can sit in a wheelchair and not sit on your petticoat to be more comfortable, for example. And this is so nice. This fabric is so soft. And look at this gorgeous lace. Oh my god, do you know how much lace like that costs? I do dresses myself. This is so expensive, you have no idea, guys. This justifies the high price of this petticoat. In my comfort level, I also say if it's comfortable to go in the bathroom with. If you open it in the front, it's basically like any other petticoat, and if you open it in the back, it's easier to pull front because it's open, but I noticed that it's kind of hard to grab every single pieces, and some parts can fall. And then you have the ties in the back that you need to be careful to not drop. This petticoat does not have any lining, but one thing that is very cool is that the two different layers have all the seams at the inside of the petticoat, and so when you're wearing this side against your leg. It's all super soft and you don't even have the seam. This is the short hoopless Lolita underskirt tutu crinoline petticoat from AliExpress. And the short petticoat Lolita white black layered tutu skirt for women on AliExpress. It's actually the exact same petticoat sold under two different names, and when you look at the photos, they actually look like the same item. One is sold for $3 more than the other one, and they are both available in black and in white. So this one is interesting. It has many tiers and it has also many layers. And this layer is some cotton and a tulle that is extremely soft, and another tulle and a lining. So it has a lot of layers, but it's not that poofy in the end. So that's a bit sad, so many layers for not a huge poof. The lining is actually quite shorter than the organza, and when you sit, you actually have the organza and the seam on your legs, and it might be a little bit scratchy, but other than that, it's a good petticoat. This is the poofy short Lolita hoop petticoat crinoline underskirt from AliExpress. It's actually so weird because it has some kind of layer to cover but not the whole thing, and so usually the dress don't fall into those holes but more like these holes. It's a bit too long because it's actually the exact same length of the dress, so the dress tend to just fall under the hoops inside of the holes. So honestly, that I don't think it's that useful. It would be better if it was longer, and also it has a weird shape. It's and yeah, it's kind of a weird shape for a Lolita dress, I guess. It's also super cheaply made. While I was taking it off, I did not understand when there was so many threads like that. The fabric is already fraying. They did not stop it with a zigzag or something, and I wore it for 5 minutes. It exists in black and in white. This is the daily wear 8 meters A-line petticoat from Aurora and Ariel. And like I said, for the mini one, this is really decent proof for something daily. And I've been even asking my boyfriend, do you think it's actually too big for daily, like a really casual Lolita? If you're needing of a cheap gateway petticoat, this could be perfect because it could be really good for daily. It's decent proof for beginning in Lolita if you don't want to be too much, and it's very cheap because it's one of the lowest tiers of fabric of Aurora and Ariel. This is the whipped cream petty short from Cream and Sugar Lolita. So this petticoat is very poofy and is quite light, but it's very plus size. They have 3 huge sizes that can fit up to 152 centimeters, I think, which is amazing. But this is size 2 and it's way too big, and size 1 was too small. And because it's too big, I have to use the drawstring, but it means that all the weight of the petticoat is distributed on this very small part that is the string. The string is bigger than the one from Me Likes Tea and a little bit stretchy, but still it's the same issue and not very comfortable. There is a layer of tulle to make it super straight and a lining, but the lining is the exact same length of the tulle, so it means that when you're sitting, there's a little bit of the tulle that peeks out and can scratch you, which is not the best. Other than that, the poof is kind of consistent and makes a very pretty shape under your dress. It's a little bit on the more expensive side, but it's actually made in Canada very sustainably, so that's why. This is the Night Whisper Original Adjustable Crinoline. First of all, I need to say it's gorgeous, and you even have some bows that you can add, and it comes in many colors, in many sizes. So this is really cool. But what is the coolest is that you can adjust the length and the size of each of the 3 hoops. You can make it super poofy at the poofiest, you can make it super tiny, you can make it a very A-line or a very cupcake shape. This is very cool what you can do with it. And at the longest it's 50 centimeters, which is a bit too long for Sweet Lolita. It will peek out, so you can actually tie it to some places to make it shorter. and you can choose to do it at 3 different places at all the hoops. But that means that you need to do that at least 4 times, I think, all around the dress to make it equal. And so if you're wearing with different dresses, you need to spend time to keep adjusting it all the time, whereas one petticoat you wear it all the time the same because you cannot change. So it's adjustable, but it depends on how long you want to take the time to adjust it to your specific needs. It's very versatile, so that's perfect. One thing on the waist, it has an elastic and a drawstring, so you can tie the drawstring, and there's still the elastic, but the elastic is not very flat. It keeps turning, and then it makes it not very comfortable. So just the waist is not very, very comfortable because of this. But other than that, it's a super, super cool petticoat, and it's so cool. I would actually just wear it like that. And if you're not lazy like me and you take the time to put all your bows on it, it will be even more pretty. So this is really cool, but very high maintenance before you can wear it to your specific needs. And comfort-wise, going to the bathroom is kind of okay. You can do this, but sitting means that it will take a lot of space. So if you're in a bus or something, this is really not practical. I'm not even sure if I could drive with this. So this is not as practical as a petticoat, but this is just me. I prefer petticoats to crinolines. And also when sitting, you have the arcs touching your knees, and also I don't really like this. But on the plus side, you have the air coming from under, and it's a lot less warm in the summer than with a petticoat. The strings at the lowest level are longer and do peek out. Something that is super cool about this hoop skirt or crinoline is that actually it's not just the hoops, that you have the coverage in between and over so that your dress does not fall in between the hoops. This is the Poofy Petticoat 12 meter A-line by Aurora and Ariel, and like all of the other ones that I have viewed, it's very comfortable, it's very poofy. So basically this is their exact middle. They have mini 8 and then this 12 and then 16 and 20 meters like the catwalk. And so for the medium petticoat, this is already quite a nice petticoat, I think. If you don't want to go to huge big events, this is totally acceptable to have this really cool petticoat. It's a lot poofier than the petticoat I had myself for years. My first 10 years in Lolita actually. This is the super poofy 16 meters petticoat by Aurora and Ariel. And when I unboxed this one, I was like, oh my god, it's almost as big as my catwalk 20 meter one, because it's really big. This is a really decent poofy petticoat, honestly. It's going to rank very high at 16 meters if you do not want too much poof. This is perfect. I would say even the smallest petticoats from Aurora and Ariel is definitely not like a flat petticoat that you would have, so this one, being the 4th out of 5 rank, is very good. This is the super poofy Lolita hoop petticoat short crinoline cosplay underskirt from AliExpress. The lace part is actually so long that it peeks out of a lot of dresses. It's actually not that comfortable when you sit. You actually find that hoop really on your knees and not that comfortable. And because it's a bit long, you need to readjust it all the time, but other than that, it has great poof. And the fact that actually it's a crinoline, but there's the fabric in between the hoops will make sure that the dress won't fall in the hoops, and the fact that it has a separate part on top makes it like a hybrid. Maybe it would be the thing that makes me like crinolines compared to having the one with the holes. It's actually plain white, but the colorway says beige, and that's the only colorways it comes in. This is the Harvest Spring Flower Petticoat by Bogota. It is a cool petticoat if you want to take photos, but it is actually the lowest rated petticoat in comfort. Because of the amount of flowers, it's extremely uncomfortable to sit with. It is scratchy, the flowers will scratch you. It is very hard to get everything to go to the bathroom. One of my points is, will it peek out and will it be low maintenance? And in that case, it will not peek out, and in that case you still need to adjust it. Because I guess if you want this petticoat, you want it to peek out, you want to show the flowers, and because it's actually 42 centimeters up until the end of the fabric, then the flower will actually not peek out because it will be about 7 centimeters higher than your dress, so they will actually be hidden by your dress, so you will all the time need to adjust it lower and not higher like in other petticoats. So it is actually a burden to adjust it all the time if you want cool photos. And also the waist is actually quite big, which is very comfortable. So if I actually leave it without tying it, it's even a little bit too big because the petticoat is very heavy and pulls down, so I need to tie it. But if you actually tie it, this ribbon is not an elastic, so that it makes your petticoat not elastic anymore, and you cannot take it up and down, so you need to remove it all the time, and so it feels less comfortable when it's tight rather than if it's an elastic. But because this is a very large cord, and the way they added the cord inside the whole thing, you still have this whole waistband holding the petticoat and not just the tiny string, so it does not actually fold like other ones to have only the string to hold the whole thing. So the way they made it, I think it's very clever and it makes it comfortable, but the rest is not very convenient. But if you want to have the full review of how to show the flowers and everything, I made a separate video for this petticoat. So my petticoat that I'm using most of the time now is the rainbow petticoat from Aurora and Ariel. This one is the 43 centimeter length, catwalk width, so 20 meter of fabric, in the half rainbow, which is rainbow on top and then white on the bottom. It's a bit cheaper, and people convinced me that it will be more pastel if there's less rainbow. And I got it through Taobao with custom sizing. And after more than 2 years of wearing it several times a week and packing it shut in my suitcases for my many travels, I'm happy to say that it's still holding up and it's perfectly as poofy as it was before. So I still recommend this one, even though I compared a bunch of new ones, because it's still very affordable for the quality that you get. And you can now find it from many more resellers than before, because they're starting to sell Aurora and Ariel even on AliExpress, so this is amazing. And if you want to know more about petticoats, I have a full playlist here that has ton of review, researches, conferences, myth busting, everything about petticoats. So click there, and remember, everybody can be kawaii. Bye bye!